all the world's a stage.
And all the men and women merely players.
They have their exits and their entrances.
And one man in his time plays many parts.
And this is the hardest part I have ever played.
These are the voyages of the USS Boudica. All right, and welcome everyone to episode 1 of Star Trek Mell, a Star Trek Adventures actual play. Joining me today are 4 of my friends and a Matthew, so that's where we're at. But with that being said, I love you, man. No, you're a good man. You threw a lot of shade at me before we started here, so I figured I'd throw a little shade back at you while it's recorded.
But okay.
Well, that's fine. I was being honest. But as I said, my name is Dare Wolf. I am the game master here, and I just want to say first and foremost thank you to all of the players for being here, as well as to all the viewers here, whether you're watching this live or on the VOD on YouTube or the Twitch stream. With that being said, we're going to go around the table. We're going to have everyone introduce themselves, very quickly introduce who they're playing, and then we are going to really just dive right into our first scene, which will be between the captain and the first officer. So we're going to go from... We're kind of going to crisscross applesauce here. We're going to go from Matthew, Alex, C4A, Adrillian, and then to Fizbo. But go ahead and please take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Matthew. That is all you will learn about me. And I am playing the captain of the USS Boudica, Captain Hagen, who is a Vulcan Betazoid hybrid on her first command.
My name is Alex. I am playing the Joint Trill Vidar Rin, the chief engineer of the Boudica.
Hi.
Oh, sorry.
I'm in the wrong order. You go ahead. That's me.
I am C4A, and I am playing the first officer, Commander Mitchell.
Now it's my turn. Hi. Great introduction. I'm Jillian. I am playing Commander Samina Velia, human intelligence officer on the ship.
Beautiful. And of course, as stated, I am Dare Wolf, the game master, and I've got a little bit of those like pre-game jitters right now, so if I stutter over my words, you can... What's that?
One more time.
Oh, God bless it. Oh, we're doing so bad already. We're doing
right,
so bad. I'm so sorry.
I feel so insulted, really. My name's Benjamin. I'm playing Science Officer Jasoniman, who is a mature Ivoran.
I'm nobody, and I'm horrible. I'm nervous, so I'm over talking a little bit right now. And Fizbo, you have my sincerest apologies for talking over your intro. You know, we'll get it right next time. There we go. We'll get it right next time. But as we open our scene, we see just the open vastness of space. We see distant stars, distant nebulas. We just see the emptiness, but also the fullness that is the galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. And as we sort of zoom in to a cluster of planets, some stars, we get closer and closer and closer, and eventually we see this kind of blue-like trail. And we recognize that this is indeed a starship. And as we get closer and closer to it, we see it as a Steamrunner Class vessel. It is a Federation vessel. And the Federation vessel, the name of this ship is the USS Boudica. As we watch, we see that this ship is traveling at very, very quick, very, very high-intensity warp. And it's heading towards a cluster of additional planets, stars, etc. But as we zoom into the vessel, we zoom down through the top, we see the bridge, we see different officers going about their daily duties. We zoom in deeper and deeper inside of the vessel, through the bulkheads, through the different decks, and eventually we come to a relatively simple looking hallway. Nothing of any great significance, but we do see two characters standing next to one another just outside of a set of double doors that says Holodeck 1. And at this point, I would very much like for the first officer and the captain to introduce themselves, their characters, tell us a little bit about what they look like, and then you guys will have your opening scene.
Be my guest.
Oh, I was waiting for the screen to change. Like, there's nothing here.
Zoom out.
I did.
Yeah, I don't.
Anyway.
Oh, there we go.
It'll show up at some point. Well, Commander Andromeda Mitchell is also a joined Trill. Oh, there's something. Boom. Red hair, average height, a stoic expression. She is a very no nonsense, by the book officer. I guess we'll all learn more together as we play, as I play her and figure her out.
That's very fair. That's very fair. Matthew.
So the captain is a relatively diminutive woman, standing at about 5'6". She has a fairly tightly cropped head of black hair and tan almost olive skin. It's a little bit darker than you would anticipate for somebody who has a Vulcan heritage, which is quite evident due to her pointed ears. Her demeanor seems to be fairly relaxed. She has a bit of a casual smirk on her face. And the only thing that denotes her Betazoid heritage is the fact that her eyes are sort of a pure ebony kind of black.
Beautiful.
To mention, I'm half Betazoid as well. So yeah, it'll be fun.
Very good. All right. And so you two have been, I hesitate to use the word summoned, but a meeting has been requested between the two of you and a Vulcan diplomat that has been brought aboard the Boudica. It is being brought to, they're being brought to the Klingon and Federation border. And you've been asked to meet with them, but I know you had requested a scene prior to that meeting, so I will leave the floor to the both of you.
So, go ahead.
Captain?
And Suri just sort of arches an eyebrow in that stereotypical Vulcan fashion, but it's slightly more sardonic. You know, it's not too late for us to just call Rin, maybe arrange for him to have some sort of minor disturbance in the magnetic containment field of the warp core.
Their allotted time in the holodeck is nearly complete, Captain. It would be in our best interest to see why they've asked us to join them.
She just sort of sighs and looks with some degree of trepidation at the door.
I'll go first if you want me to.
No. This is Captain's responsibility to entertain the good ambassador, so... And she still doesn't go through the door.
And Andromeda will take a step forward, kind of like testing her. Like,
okay, fine. I see. This is why you're my first officer. You're always giving me that kick in the rear end that I need. Okay. And she'll step forward, raise her hand to the door panel, hold it for a second, wince, cover it, and then tap the door panel to indicate their presence and request entry.
There is that telltale sort of noise, and then there is a response indicating that, you know, the door is unlocked and you may enter into whatever program is currently running.
And Suri will enter.
Excellent. As you step through the doorway into this holodeck program, you find yourselves inside of what appears to be a great, wide, vast forest with trees that are larger than a tree should be. Think, you know, great redwoods. And sitting cross-legged with his hands on his knees, palms facing up towards this beautiful cloudless sky, you see an elderly looking Vulcan. This is the gentleman that you've all come to know as this Vulcan diplomat by the name of Valam Tumu. And he is simply sitting there, just eyes closed, looking up, not even looking anywhere, just eyes closed. You hear the sound of, birds, maybe the rustle of a squirrel moving through, through the underbrush. But he is about maybe 100 feet in front of you at the base of one of these large, large trees.
Not exactly the program I was expecting.
Andromeda just takes in the scene, just takes it in.
Vulcans tend to go for the desert sort of thing, and purification of the body, asceticism, as it were.
Yes, Captain. Shall we?
We shall. And she'll make her way towards the ambassador, assuming that the commander is following along.
As the two of you make your way towards this Vulcan diplomat, you continue to hear the sounds of nature. There is this very cool, almost refreshing breeze that is blowing through the trees. You hear the leaves are rustling ever so slightly. It's all very calming, as it is perhaps strange, and obviously not exactly what you were expecting. As you get within roughly 10 feet of the Vulcan, of the diplomat here, he opens his eyes and continues to keep his hands on his knees, palms facing up towards the sky. And he says, "Captain, do you partake in poetry?"
And the captain suppresses a bit of a grimace and just then smiles and says, "Not poetry per se. It's never been my forte, but I do play the violin."
Music is in itself a form of poetry, wouldn't you say, Captain?
It's an emotive language, I'd say.
Slowly nods, and then he turns to Commander Mitchell. "And what of you, First Officer?"
I can appreciate the power of words.
A slow and very understanding nod of his head. "In my youth, I found poetry to be, simply put, a waste of time. It was simply fanciful words used to attempt, that is to say, attempt to explain the wonders that is life. But as I have grown older, I have found that poetry, it can contain wisdom. Wisdom that is passed from generation to generation. Perhaps much like music elicits emotion, so too can poetry elicit wisdom and knowledge. Wouldn't you agree, Captain?"
I think it's incumbent upon us to assess, to analyze the purported wisdom of the past, the literature, the poetry, even the music that's handed down to us, to see if it still matters.
He closes his eyes again, and as he does so, he begins to hum a very slow and sort of sorrowful kind of tune. If any of you are familiar with any sort of like sad, classical music, think of the saddest song you've ever heard, is what I would say, and that's really what it sounds like. He does this for maybe 10 seconds and opens his eyes again. "It is times like these that remind me of a poet by the name of W.B. Yeats. He is from Earth's ancient history. He said, 'I know that I shall meet my fate somewhere among the clouds above. A waste of breath the years behind, in balance with life this death. I have often been called to negotiate and attempt to keep from happening what seems to be inevitable wars. My question, Captain. Do you think we, living creatures, are destined to consume ourselves, much like the universe seems to desire to consume itself?
I think we make our own destiny through the choices that we make every single day, small and large.
You speak of destiny. Not very logical, is that, Captain?
Well, if you believe that the universe is just comprehensible, logical laws of physics and mechanics, that's all there is, then that's all we are too. And in the end, the future is just the necessary and logical consequence of what came before. I don't believe that.
I truly hope that you are right, Captain. I truly hope that you are right. We're going to leave that scene there just for a few moments, and I'd like to pivot down to main engineering. I'd like to pivot down to main engineering, where we are going to see Alex's character, along with several of the engineers and the kind of the second in command, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, you decided that you are the chief engineer, but more of kind of like a liaison because you helped design and refit the Boudica. Just kind of walk me through it again. I want to make sure I'm getting this right.
The basic idea had been that Rin was the one in charge of overseeing the refits of the Boudica.
Mm-hmm.
The new systems put in they were his baby. He designed them. He wants to make sure they're actually working properly.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to make sure the engineering crew has a good understanding of how it's actually supposed to work before he hands it over to the actual crew.
So as of right now, your position on the ship is potentially not permanent, is my understanding.
Correct.
You are here to make sure everything's running smoothly. I'd like to ask you, Commander Rin, how have things been progressing? I want to give you a little creative license. Have there been any issues aboard the Boudica over the last 6 months that you've been trying to, I guess, figure out?
I'd say there've been a few issues in how several of the systems have been interacting with one another,
Mm-hmm.
with upgraded EPS conduits, upgraded power flow systems, some higher definition sensor suites that were installed.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything's working with the older technology on the ship.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I like that. I like that a lot. So there is a kind of, I guess the old and the new are somewhat butting heads, as it were. You've got some of this new technology that's not integrating quite effectively with some of this newer, the old and the new. Is that a safe assessment?
That would be safe.
I like that. So we're going to open our scene in main engineering. And as we open our scene, we see Commander Rin, and we also see a Lieutenant Commander Cotter, who is a Bajoran. And he's been, for the last 6 months, a little bit very terse with you. He's been very short in all of the interactions with you. Respectful. He does as he's told. He asks questions, but he's very, very short with you. And you've gotten the impression that he sees you as a potential threat to his current role as acting chief engineer aboard the vessel. And I know you've done your best, it sounds like, to just be helpful and encouraging, etc. But there's still just this little bit of a chip on his shoulder. But as we open the scene, I'd like to just take a moment to describe your character so that we know exactly what he looks like, and then we'll dive into this scene.
Rin is, as I mentioned before, a joint trill, stands roughly 6'2". It's a standard spots down either side of his face.
Mm-hmm.
Black, short hair, kind of a little unkept, but still within regulation.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, he's not wearing the standard gold operations uniform. He is in red as part of his attachment to the ship from his actual posting of the Corps of Engineers.
I like that. I like that a lot. So you've been working with Commander Cotter here, trying to source the reason why the enhanced sensor suites, they seem to be drawing more power than they should, and that's been affecting some other secondary systems such as replicators. Certain doors may not open automatically. It's been very minor issues, nothing catastrophic, nothing that would put the ship in jeopardy. It's been more of an annoyance than anything. And as we open our scene here, we see Commander Cotter. He is feverishly typing away at one of the consoles, and he has a moment where he places both of his hands on the console and says, "God damn it! I can't figure out what is going wrong with this stupid power relay. There's no reason that it should be drawing additional." You said you put this thing together. What did you mess up?
Ren will just kind of turn his head to look over towards Goddard. Take a couple steps back. Where is this excess power flow coming from? What junctions, what circuitry, what else is being affected right now?
The Lieutenant Commander Cotter seems to realize he just was incredibly rude to his superior officer, and he straightens up, his shoulders broaden slightly, and he looks a little bit more professional. He had a moment, he broke, and he says, "Please forgive me, Commander. The frustration of trying to figure out what's going on seems to have... It's coming from subsystem here, here, and here." And he points out to several different systems. And what it looks like, based on your understanding of the vessel, is that these secondary systems, these replicators, doors, lighting, things like that, for some reason, the power is more power is flowing to them than should be. And if you'd like to, I'd like us to make the first roll of the game. Super exciting. Congratulations on having that honor. We're actually going to have you roll a reason and engineering. Difficulty in this is just going to be a 2.
I believe, just for the heck of it, we did start with momentum, didn't we?
You started with 2 momentum. I don't remember why I gave it to you, other than I'm a benevolent game master.
Because of our awesome intro.
That was a pretty cool intro. Yeah, it was. So C4A recommended that, which was amazing. And we ran with it. And it was, it took me like 8 different tries to get it right. But we did it.
So I will use 1 momentum to roll 3 dice with a focus in power generation systems.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be a focus. 100%.
Nice.
Beautiful. That's actually going to net you a grand total of 1 momentum back, which is fantastic. So, Commander Rin, you begin to analyze the different pathways, the different power junctions, what's going on, and you come to the conclusion that the only way the power would be being routed to these systems, additional power, it's like shorting out circuits, it's shorting out replicators, shorting out doors, the things like that, is if someone had done it intentionally. Now, why someone would try to do that, it seems very mundane, it seems almost mischievous, but it looks like it was an intentional redirection of power.
There's no reason power should be flowing through the relays the way they are. Let's try and reroute power, send them from junction 7 alpha. Let's try and get them through relays 4 and 8 beta. See if that brings it down.
And I'm going to actually have you and Commander Cotter, we're going to have you both roll a quick check here. Difficulty on this is just going to be a 2 again, but Commander Cotter is going to assist you. And he's going to give a control engineering, and you will also give a control engineering.
I'm just going to roll my standard dice on this one with the same focus.
Boom! Commander Cotter got you 2 successes. Oh, there we go. It's 2 additional momentum. Very, very nice. Very well done. Very well done. So, good news is that you start to reroute the power. You start to send it to some other systems, this overflow of power that's going to these systems. And as you watch the different power flows, you watch as they flow to those systems and then flow right back to those same systems they've been affecting. And you actually get a couple of alerts that 3 replicators have just blown out and 2 doors have just stopped working. You start to get some like emergencies and requests that certain systems aren't working properly.
Of course, because why would it be working properly? Lieutenant Commander, would you get a couple of repair teams on those?
Right away, sir. And yes, sir. And he's going to spin on his heel, very professional, and he's going to march out of engineering, grabbing a couple of the engineers along his way to go and start attempting some repairs on these effective systems. And I think that's a good cadence there. I'd like to leave you with that information. And we're actually going to pivot down over to the good commander. Is it Johnsoman? Am I saying that right? I want to make sure I have it right, Fizbo. Jassonoman. Thank you, sir. Jassonoman. So Commander Jassonoman, who is the Chief Science Officer aboard the Boudica. And I'm curious, you've been aboard the ship. You've been on all of these diplomatic missions. You've been going to and from different places. Do you have any pet projects you might be working on? Any research that you're looking into? Stellar phenomena? Any sort of, what makes him tick? What makes your character tick? What interests them? What kind of projects are you working on these days?
I have 2. One is I am focusing rather intensely on xenoarchaeology in this region. We haven't done a lot of it in this region, but since there hasn't been a lot of call for me to solve any scientific mumbo jumbo things that have suddenly gone wrong, a planet suddenly inverted, things like that.
Sure.
So I've been doing a lot of research on that in the area. My other pet project is I'm trying to improve coffee.
Ooh. I like that.
I drink a lot of coffee, and I was recommended a Ractigino, and I think it's too weak, and I'm trying to do something to make it better without causing palpitations in everyone I've tried it on.
So I think what would be fun is if we are going to have you in astrometrics, and we're going to have you in astrometrics because you're looking at different planets, you're searching around for ancient civilizations. There's a lot of data in the alpha and beta quadrants here where we find our ship currently on that Federation Klingon border, and there is information, but there's still a lot to be discovered, right? The galaxy, even the known quadrants, it's a vast open area that, hasn't been, that's the beauty of space, the final frontier, as they say. Hashtag Star Trek. There we go. But with that being said, we are going to open our scene with you in astrometrics. And I'm curious if you could just give us a brief description of your character, and we'll take it from there.
So Jassonoman would be considered up there for his species. They only live to around 67 years, and he is coming up on 50. He is 4'11", which is also tall for his species, 88 pounds. He's an Avoran, which are not what humans or most other species would consider conventionally attractive. Very fleshy, very engorged heads with some fleshy things hanging down. They're certainly a unique and memorable appearance. And he has been pursuing science since he got into Starfleet.
I love it. Joining you here is one of our NPCs, which I'll be handling right now. This is one of Alex's NPCs. I had all of the crew make about 5 different NPCs, each of you 4 NPCs. We wanted to fill the ship with interesting characters, but you're going to be joined by now is it Shea? Am I saying that right? Shay, who is a Cation, and Alex knows me very well. I love cats, so good on ya. If you didn't already have 2 momentum, I'd give you another one. But we'll take
a third.
No, I'm not going to allow it. But you are joined by Shay, who is one of the ensign science officers aboard the Boudica, and they have been helping you. Is Shay a boy, a girl, non-binary, female?
Male.
Okay.
Yep.
So Shay is with you, and he has been helping map out these different quadrants. And I'd like to imagine, Fizbo, that there's a little coffee maker on one of the counters there. Not necessarily regulation, not something that probably should be there, but you've been attempting to perfect this coffee. Now, are you trying to make this coffee stronger? Are you trying to make it a smoother taste? What exactly are you trying to perfect when it comes to this coffee?
I'm trying to make a more effective caffeine delivery system that wakes up the senses, but is not entirely unpalatable. So far, I can accomplish the first two, but not the third.
I love that. I love that. Commander, I have found, this is going to be Shay. Commander, I have found an interesting archaeological dig site that was abandoned roughly 10 years ago that we might wish to investigate further should the captain deem it, well, acceptable. Also, what is that smell, Captain? It burns my nostrils and smells like something burning. And as you look over at your coffee maker, you notice that there is a kind of sizzling steam coming out of it. And you know that smell of burnt coffee? Mm-hmm. It's like that on steroids. You've been very preoccupied for a few moments with this research into these different archaeological dig sites, and it appears you have burned your coffee. And I'd like to know, how do you react to this discovery?
Excuse me. And I'm turning it off. Ensign, in science, this is what we call an unanticipated factor. Will this improve the results? Unclear.
Captain,
would you like to?
Are you excuse me, Commander? Are you stating that we should still try it, though it is burned?
I think it would be inappropriate if we did not.
The Caitian's ears tilt back. His nose scrunches up a little bit, and he looks very unconvinced. Commander, there is a old Earth saying that I picked up while at the Academy. You first.
The wisdom of youth.
He smiles, and his whiskers kind of fiddle around a little bit. They twitch.
And I will drink it first.
And I'd like you to roll me a D100. And I'd like you to tell me before you roll it, high or low.
Oh, high. Always high.
Always high. All right. We're always rolling high. I love that. Go for it. 25. So, have you ever yourself had burnt coffee?
Yeah, I know how to make that.
I'd like you to imagine burnt coffee mixed with leather, mixed with like the smell of something that's been overbaked. So it's kind of like that like charcoal-y kind of smell mixed with gasoline. But as soon as you take a sip, your eyes dilate, your ears start ringing, and despite your best efforts, your right foot starts tapping as though you're listening to the most just upbeat, fantastical jig you've ever heard in your entire life.
Ensign, quickly, take my vitals.
What? Of course, Commander. Are you all right? Your eyes are incredibly dilated, and your danglies, they're jittering back and forth. Commander, are you all right? And he quickly takes out a tricorder, starts taking your vitals, and you know those tricorder sounds that it's doing like a Commander, all of your vitals are, well, maximized? Commander, how many fingers am I holding up?
4.
No, sir. It's only 2. It seems that you're seeing double. Wait, that was 3. Commander, I think you should get to medical right away.
Very well. They're not going to be happy to see me a third time this week.
That's brilliant. I love it. Absolutely brilliant. So as Johnson, this is one of those names I'm gonna screw up. I want to get it right, so say it again.
Jasanomen.
Jasanomen.
Yes.
We're gonna call you Man. Jasanomen. Jasanomen. I need anyway, I'll figure it out. Jasanomen. Commander Jasanomen. So you head out of astrometrics. As you head out, as you go to walk. You walk quicker than you intended, and you actually bump into the door. As you remember earlier, I mentioned that some of the doors aren't working. Yeah, you run face first into that door, kind of hit your forehead, bruises a little bit, manage to hit the manual override. The door slowly grinds open, and then you literally can skip down the hallway towards medical. And with that being said, we're going to pivot over to a character, a crew member who is, well, part of the crew, but also kind of not part of the crew, but is there to help, but also is kind of doing her own thing. Commander, is it Vila? Am I saying that right? You're muted, as is tradition. Velia. These are all complicated. I'm going to screw them up constantly, but eventually I'll get them right after like episode 20. But Valia, that's the one. Commander V. So Commander V, where would you be spending most of your time aboard the Boudica?
Probably in like the back corner of like the mess hall.
Ooh, I like that. I actually happen to have a nice overview of a certain mess hall. And I don't have very many good pictures, but I've got some of them. So it is middle of the afternoon. It's well past the sort of standard lunchtime that everyone has. So you find that the mess hall is, well, very empty. And that may indeed be what you're looking for. I'm not sure, Commander V. But as we... misspelled her name in the overlay?
How did you spell it?
Did I misspell your name in the overlay?
Bela.
See it.
Well,
We can fix it later.
if
right.
it is, we'll fix it later. You
That's
know what?
pilot episodes are for.
That's what the
Live
pilot
and let
episode's
live.
for. Exactly. Live and let live. I love that. Thank you, C4A. You're amazing. So we pivot over to the mess hall where we see Commander V. And Commander V, take a moment, describe your character to us, and then we're going to dive into a little scene involving Commander V.
So Commander Velia, she's just human. She's got this hair and this makeup, and that's it.
Wow. Just literally drill.
Easy makeup for the game.
All right. I like that. And what would Commander V be working on while finding solitude inside of the Boudica's mess hall?
She will be playing the old Earth game Sudoku, but instead of, the common, 1, 2, 3 numbers that we're aware of, she's using dunny numbers, which is from an old Earth game called Myst.
Oh.
So it's just literally, it's the same numbers, but they look different.
I like that.
So if anyone was looking at it, it would probably look like hieroglyphics.
Look like gibberish, as it were. So you've been working on this Sudoku puzzle for maybe the last hour, and I'm curious, Commander V, is it going well, or are you struggling with this one? How many rows, how many columns are we working on this time?
So she's done like a bunch in the last hour, increasing in difficulty. She's probably been working on this one for maybe 15 minutes. She's maybe halfway through it.
Oh, so she's good at this. She's good. You are very intensely focused on this Sudoku puzzle that you've been working on. And so focused that you don't actually realize there is a young security officer who has been standing next to you for an unknown number of maybe seconds, perhaps even minutes. And the young security officer seems to be holding a tablet. They are holding a tablet in his left hand, or kind of like just tucked under his arm. And he is looking down at that Sudoku puzzle with, well, what I could describe as nothing else than utter confusion. But there's an attempt on his face, like he wants to understand, but also doesn't want to ask. So he is just standing there watching you work.
I almost said B. Commander Velia will kind of like look over her shoulder, just make eyes with him.
Oh, Commander, forgive me. Christopher Jensen, Ensign Jensen. Stupid name. I have a message for you. It was from Starfleet Intelligence. They asked for me to, well, not me personally, but the message came through, and then it was given to me to give to you directly. It was supposed to be for your eyes only. It's on this. What are you working on there? I don't. Those look like hieroglyphics or something. Is it like a puzzle or a game? Is that rude to ask? I apologize.
No, here, have a seat. And she'll gesture to the seat across from her.
He doesn't even reluctantly sit down. He sits down with great interest, and the tablet clatters onto the table to his left. It is now about equidistance between the two of you, face down, and he takes his hands, wraps them together, curling his fingers together, and then just rests his chin on that closed fist and goes, "Yeah, that looks really weird, but I like puzzles. Is it a game? Puzzles? Game puzzle? What's going on?"
Yes, both.
Oh.
So she'll lay the tablet flat and she'll wipe it until it's like a clean one. And they're going to be normal numbers now that, they're not these hieroglyphic numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll explain the concept of Sudoku, like, 1 through 9 on every line. Every box needs to be 1 through 9, and you can't have the same number in the same line, and you have to make sure all the numbers fit. I was using another set of numbers, but it's just 1 through 9.
He smiles and he says, I've never seen anything quite like this. It seems so simple yet so complicated.
Yeah. Here, give me your pad. Like his own pad.
And he will reach down to his right, not the left, right, give it a small little pad to you as well.
And she likes to do this. She'll put it together next to hers and she'll like swipe the game over onto his and then give it to him.
Thank you, Commander. Thank you. Do you recommend I start at the beginner level?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. Oh, right. This data pad. Your eyes only, and then he will grab it as it's, just kind of put his fingers on the top of the back, slide it a little bit closer to you, and just if you could sign here, ma'am, just to indicate that you got it.
So whatever she
gives a little beep. All right, perfect. Thanks, Commander. You're not so bad. Thanks. And he's gonna get up out of the booth, and we'll head off unless you say anything else to him.
No, she'll let him go, and then she'll look at the pad.
Beautiful. As you look at the pad is currently, so it's a standard Federation data pad, nothing fancy, but there is a blinking kind of like password box right on the center of the screen, and it is asking for a 26-digit code to be entered. That you would know what that code is. It's something that, being in Starfleet intelligence, you had to come up with this code, you had to commit it to memory, and then delete all other, instances of it other than them in your memory. And this is for, you only receive a message like this when it is something of the utmost importance, something vital, something that is potentially, let's just say it's a big deal. So I'm curious as to what is the expression on the commander's face? What is her demeanor in this moment?
She will slide to the back of the booth and put her back and against the side and put her feet up on it, so like she's facing the room. Mm-hmm. And she's pretty. She kind of always has like a careless expression, like, does anything really bother this woman type thing? And she will type the code in as if she's just doing something on her pad.
So you go to type the code in, and I was given some threat earlier. I'm going to spend that threat. You mistyped the code. You have one more attempt to retype it.
You really doing this to me, man?
I'm really doing this to you, man. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. You think you typed the code in right. In fact, you're 99% sure you typed the code in right.
And it's not still there with the eye that I could check it, right?
No, there's no eye.
She will just type it in. She'll restart and type it in again.
Perfect. The screen opens, and there is just one message inside of this, or on this tablet. And it is from Starfleet Command. Or excuse me, Starfleet Intelligence. It's from your commanding officer in and at Starfleet Intelligence, and it's a very short, and I would hesitate to say, but I'm not going to hesitate. It is a somewhat cryptic message. New intel has arrived. Someone aboard the Boudica is not who they say they are. Someone is a spy and is seeking to instigate a war between the Federation and the Klingons. Find out who it is and report back.
Delete.
The message deletes. The tablet reverts back to being a standard tablet. No, ominous blinking password thing. Nothing like that. And I'm curious, what does the commander do with this information?
At this very moment, she's gonna finish that Sudoku she was working on.
How long does it take her?
Like 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
And then she will get up and walk out of the mess hall and probably head off to see the captain.
I love it. I love it. Excellent. So we're going to pivot back over to the Holo program, this holodeck program where we have the captain, we have the first officer, and we have this Vulcan diplomat with them, and he has been speaking with you all about just more of these sort of philosophical ideas. These, is humanity destined to fight with itself? Are all living species doomed to repeat this endless cycle of war and destruction? And we're going to kind of pick up as he's been just kind of, this back and forth where he'll ask a question, he'll give a response, he'll ask a question, he'll make a statement, he'll pause to wait for you to respond. And he has just made this comment about how it seems that the universe is, or has a desire. If the universe was indeed a living being, it seems like it is obsessed with trying to consume itself. Just look at singularities. Look at a black hole. What is that if not the universe seeking to consume itself? So if we are indeed made of the universe, are we too destined to consume ourselves?
Ambassador, this is a really rather fanciful and almost nihilistically romantic. I don't know if I've ever encountered anything like this way of seeing the world. Not what I expect from a Vulcan.
He smiles, which is also strange for a Vulcan. It's very short. If you were looking the other way, you would have missed it, but there's just an ever so slight smile on his face that is then replaced with that kind of stern seriousness that you've come to expect from Vulcans. Perhaps I have spent too much time among humans and other species. I believe it is the humans saying that they are rubbing off on me. But I didn't call you here to necessarily discuss philosophy. I called you here to discuss the purpose of our mission along the Klingon border. Our meeting with Admiral Eddington. As it stands, we are to meet with her and a entourage from the Klingon High Council. The goal is to discuss terms of a non-aggression pact. As you know, the Klingons and the Federation have had a treaty for many, many years, but there are those among the Klingons that think that treaty has made them weak. It may seem strange for me to ask you this, but I would like it if both you and your first officer, and he eyes you, Commander Mitchell, just for a second longer than would be maybe proper. There's this kind of side eye that he gives to you. I think the two of you might bolster the likelihood of a peaceful resolution to this meeting.
The captain's just going to give a little bit of a side eye towards Mitchell, noting that bizarre glance and arc an eyebrow, waiting for her to respond.
She'll nod back. We have been preparing for this ever since we received the intelligence. All of our officers are primed all systems are go, everyone is doing their job sufficiently, we will not fail.
He slowly nods his head. He seems to accept that comment at face value, but once again, just eyes her for a few seconds longer than would be deemed, I guess, normal or proper. He then finally does turn back to the captain. Captain, how long until we arrive with the rest of the fleet?
It's about 3 days.
Very good. Thank you, Captain, and Commander Mitchell, for meeting with me. If it's all right, I wish to return to my meditations.
Actually, Ambassador, since you have attempted to involve us in presumably the diplomatic proceedings that are to follow once we rendezvous with the fleet, I feel I should ask you, why? What is it that you think we bring?
There's a very deep breath. He watches his shoulders expand. He holds that breath for a few moments and then lets it out very slowly. It's very sort of meditative kind of breathing, as though he was maybe like practicing yoga or something. You bring the insight of youth and the perfection of preparation. And as he says that, he turns back to Commander Mitchell.
She doesn't back down. She just remains stoic.
Well then, Ambassador, if you want a piece of advice regarding what's going to transpire, it's this. Logic's not going to help you here, not with the Klingons. They are a mercurial and intensely complex, passionate race. And I am afraid that somebody of your comportment, your mentality, might not know how to deal with them.
Expression remains stoic. Then perhaps now you understand why I'm requesting the two of you accompany me. Will that be all, Captain?
Commander? Then I suppose I'll bid you pleasant meditations, she says with a degree of disgust.
Live long and prosper, Captain. Commander. He will place his hands on his knees, cross his legs still crossed, close his eyes, and sort of just blend into a kind of meditative trance, it looks like. You continue to hear the sounds of the forest around you, that cool, refreshing breeze, and as the two of you leave, you exit back out into the hallway of the Boudica. The doors slide closed behind you, and I do want to give you two a moment to talk with one another if you wish. I don't want to press past this because I'm curious if you two would discuss what has just transpired.
Do you suppose I should have reminded him he only had 7 more minutes left on his allotted time in the holodeck?
And Suri is actually just sort of holding the sides of her head slightly and massaging them. No, I think that rank has its privileges, as it were. The ambassador probably free to use that. Keeps him of our hair.
Very well. I will slide the schedule down and adjust as needed, and she'll go to the wall and make those quick adjustments.
Right. I'm certain that the following people are going to be pleased by your accommodations and alterations. Very good.
It is as it must be, Captain.
Apparently. Thoughts on our exchange, Commander? Mine is that I have a headache, so I'll be heading to sickbay in about 2 minutes. You'll have the bridge, just so you know.
Affirmative, Captain. Permission to speak freely?
Please.
The ambassador was not like normal Vulcans, if I may say so. He was more of a free spirit, free to speak his mind? Surely that would cause some offense.
I found it rather refreshing, but you're right. He wasn't quite as priggish and stuck up as most Vulcans.
Hmm.
That actually concerns me. Sorry, my internet cut out there. Did you say something? Okay.
But she kind of does the like, how so?
I don't know. Just, it feels wrong. That's all. Gut instinct.
If you'd like, I could have a member of security accompany the ambassador for the remainder of the mission.
I mean, that could be played off as for his own security. If he'll allow it, yes. Although we should also try to get into medical. Those kinds of behaviors, the solipsism, the emotionalism, it almost sounds like it could be Bendai syndrome, early stages.
That is also a solid plan.
I'll leave the orchestration of that in your capable hands, Commander Mitchell.
Of course. Perhaps when you visit sickbay on your own, let them know that they will be having a visitor in, and she turns to look back on the panel, though she knows exactly what time it's going to be left. She just does it just to have motion. 48 minutes.
Did you factor in the time that it's going to take him to travel from the holodeck to sickbay?
52 minutes.
You're slipping, Commander.
Yes, Captain. It's
Okay.
a Tuesday.
I've always found that Mondays were worst, but either way, you have the bridge. I'm going to sickbay.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Commander V, that you were going to go meet with the captain. Is that correct? So I think it would probably be logical, to use a Vulcan term, that you would maybe contact him. So would you have tapped your comm badge and reached out to the captain? Because I think that would be a great moment to have his comm badge go off, if that's the way you were going to go look for him.
She would have done that while also getting the computer to find his location.
Beautiful.
Or her location, sorry.
Not a problem.
Beautiful. So you tap your comm badge. What do you say to the captain? Captain, your comm badge chirps.
Oh, what fresh hell is this? And she just taps her comm badge. Captain here.
Hello, Captain. It is Commander Velia. We need to have a word.
Is it particularly urgent?
Yes.
Oh, I was
I
right.
can meet you in medical if you want.
No.
If you're heading that way.
It's quite all right. Just where would you like to meet?
Perhaps your ready room.
Very good. I'll divert there now.
Stop by medical first, though.
I'm used to the headaches. Don't worry. It's just fusillade going off in my brain. That's standard stuff.
I'll meet you there. Out.
And as the two of them are heading off towards her ready room, I'd like to pivot back over to Commander Rin. Commander Rin, Cotter has gathered together several of the work crews. They're starting to fix some of those broken replicators, some of the doors. In fact, the door to Astrometrics was first on the list. You're getting reports that the blown fuses, relays, power conduits are starting to be replaced. It's all very minor, just a lot of annoyance, a lot of annoying little breakages. They all add up to be like a minor problem. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like the ship blows up, this is like a 0.75. But a lot of 0.75s can add up to 10, right? So we're gonna pivot back over to the two main engineering, where you are obviously working on trying to figure out, and I'm curious if you'd be so kind, Chief Engineer, what are you researching? What are you looking into? How are you attempting to figure out what this problem is?
I would think by this point, Rin's not actually at the consoles anymore.
Okay.
At this point, he's actually gone into one of the Jeffries tubes, going to actually physically look at the primary EPS conduits coming off of the warp core, figuring maybe something's going on here that's adding this extra power where it's not supposed to be going.
I love where your mind's at, Commander Rin. I love where your mind's at. But of course, I don't have any Jeffries tubes maps, so we're just going to have to theater of mind this one. All right? So you're in a tight, cramped, maybe a little bit warmer. The power that's being shunted over to this particular Jeffries tube and surrounding areas is actually messing with the life support systems, and it's about 10 degrees too hot in this Jeffries tube. So your uniform's getting a little sticky. You're starting to sweat a little bit. It's just feeling a little stuffy. It's not enough to where you'd start passing out. It's just enough to cause that just modicum of uncomfortableness right now. But as you are poking around, I'd like you to go ahead and give us a insight and engineering difficulty on this. You've got a panel down. You're looking at one of the power relays. You're kind of poking around. You've got your tricorder out, a couple different instruments. You're trying to figure out like what the heck is causing this power shunt, this pressure, this push of power. And go ahead and give us again, insight engineering. And difficulty on this is actually going to be a 3. Difficulty of 3 on this particular check.
If it's okay, I would like to use 3 momentum to roll 4 dice. And I'm assuming my power generation systems focus still is applicable?
Absolutely. Hot diggity damn, right on the money. Good thing you used that momentum. So you are poking around, and you're looking at this power relay, and you're seeing that, again, it's only about maybe 5% more power going through this system, through this particular relay, than should be allotted and should be normal. But again, it's just enough to where occasionally, if 1 or 2 people start using, like in the same sector, the same area of the ship, 1 or 2 people use the replicator at the same time, it causes it to overload, breaks the replicator, right? As you're poking around, you've got your hand up inside of this, this panel's off the wall, you've got your hand up inside there, you're kind of feeling around, and you know this ship like the back of your hand, right, Commander Rin? I mean, you literally helped rebuild it, refit it.
Yeah. You're
reaching back around, it's up to your shoulder, you're all the way up in there, and wait a minute, that's not supposed to be there. There's like a squarish kind of, I guess, nodule, a squarish kind of piece of metal or hard plastic. You can't really tell because it's right up in there, but that's not supposed to be there. That's supposed to be a smooth tubular surface. I'm curious, what do you do with that information?
I think with that bit of information, I'm going to grab the engineering tricorder and try and get a reading of that erroneous part. See, is that actually messing with anything? Is that doing anything in and of itself?
Well, that's an interesting question, Commander Rin. Well, what's interesting is that your tricorder, you go to scan for this object. There's no object there. The tricorder's not picking anything up. That's weird. You definitely felt it, though.
So going back in, is it still there?
Oh, it's still there. Smooth, 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 smooth. Cube, smooth, 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 smooth.
I think with that in mind, probably going to tap on the comm badge to try and get hold of the lieutenant commander.
Commander Cotter.
Yeah.
Commander Cotter here.
I'm in Jeffries tube Alpha 3. Can you cut power coming through these conduits?
I mean, I can, sir. It's going to take me a few minutes. That goes to... Well, that
the
goes
holodeck.
Yeah, the holodeck. Yeah. I think someone's inside there.
they're gonna have to deal with it.
Acknowledged. Give me 2 minutes.
All right, I'll be waiting.
Cotter out. You wait for a minute. Wait for 2 minutes. Then the power shuts off. And as the power shuts off, you hear a clanging noise. And falling out from way back up in there is a tiny little black box. Smooth surfaces. Looks to be, if it was in space, the vastness of space, you wouldn't even see it. It's that kind of perfect black, if you've ever seen it, like that car that was painted like perfect black. It's like that. It's just a tiny little black box. It's only about maybe, I'd say about 6 inches by 6 inches, perfect cube. And it just clangs onto that catwalk, that, graded catwalk that are customary on those Jeffrey tubes.
With that having dropped out, going to reach back, see if there's anything else still back there, or if that is what I was felt.
You go to feel back there. It's smooth, 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 just like it should be.
Now let's see, what the hell are you? I'm gonna go ahead, pick it up, and start making my way back out of the Jeffries tube.
The power kicks back on. And, yeah, you start making your way back out of the Jeffries tubes. As the power kicks back on, though, where are you holding this device, Commander Rin?
It would be squarely in the palm of his hand at that moment.
Ah, right into the palm of my hand. Good, Commander. I appreciate you. You get the worst shock that you've ever experienced in your life. Your entire right arm, the hand that you're holding it in, goes numb. And the device, you watch as these kind of bluish black little sparks of electricity lance out from this device. And as though it is magnetized, it shoots directly towards the wall of the Jeffries tube and connects to the wall of the Jeffries tube right where that same kind of smooth power relay or conduit would have been. It's obviously a few feet down from where you had the panel off, but it connects to the wall and it just kind of sparks for a moment, then once again goes inert, but is stuck right about eye level. Your right arm is still tingling and you can't feel your fingers.
His arm just kind of drops at his side, not really moving it. When I get out of here, I need to remind him not to turn power back on until I say so otherwise.
Commander Cotter to Commander Rin. I've restored power. Everything all right up there, Commander?
Turn power back off. Come into this jet.
I'm not able to do that, Commander. A certain Vulcan diplomat had contacted main engineering requesting to know why his holodeck program had ended. He didn't seem very happy.
Stand by. Rin out. Just tab the badge and close the channel. Rin, for the moment, is going to leave the box right where it is and head out of the Jeffries tube back to main engineering.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm going to leave that there. I like that. That's fun. So you head out the Jeffries tube, you head back to main engineering, and I'd like to pivot over to Commander Jasoniman. Jasoniman? Yes! Ah! A champion. All right. Dare Wolf. I'm just going to shout my own name. That's real arrogant. Anyway. All right. So Commander Jasoniman. There it is. All right. Commander Jasoniman, you've gone to medical. You got not a stimulant, the opposite of a stimulant. I'm having a mental block here. But a depressant? Is that what it is? Is that what it would be? You've gotten a sedative. You've gotten a sedative. It didn't knock you out. They literally gave you the equivalent of like 2 horse tranquilizers and a half. And it just made you feel normal. Like,
all right.
It worked too good. The EMH, the actual chief medical officer, wasn't on duty at the time, but the EMH, who looks like an Andorian, it's a Mark IV, I believe you had created, Alex. A Mark IV had told you that had you waited 3 to 4 minutes longer, your heart may have exploded. So whatever you drank, don't do it again, was his medical advice. But as of right now, you are in perfect health, so nothing to be concerned about. But your heart was going about 2.5 times the speed that it should have been.
Like a hummingbird.
Exactly. Yes.
I'd like to imagine that when the commander walked in, the mage activated. Please state the nature of the medical. Oh, it's you again.
Oh, it's you again. Exactly. I love that. 100%. 100%. It's like, son of a, what did you do this time? All right. But that's beautiful.
Days since he's been in this sick bay, 0.
That is, yeah, they've got a little thing that states how many days it's been since the good commander, chief science officer, has been there. So we're actually going to pivot to a hallway aboard the Boudica, and you are traversing your way down the hallway away from medical. And as you're making your way down the hallway, you come to a corner. You go to round the corner, and as you do so, you run into a red-haired officer that you don't immediately recognize. She's actually wearing captain pips, which is interesting. But you run into her, and as you run into her, she is carrying a data pad and a tricorder. Would you have been carrying anything in your hands, or are you simply just walking down the hallway at this moment?
I assume I am carrying the sample cup of what I have left of that material, and my tricorder in my other hand.
Your coffee? Your
hyper
coffee?
Not that kind of sample. Yes, yeah. My coffee and my coffee mug in one.
So your hyper coffee, the vial, or perhaps the cup that you're carrying it in, has started to smoke. Just FYI. So maybe you're moving a little bit quicker. That explains why you rounded the corner so quickly, because it's been starting to smoke and there's a kind of a sizzling noise coming from it. But as you bump into her, you do your best not to drop your coffee. And we're actually going to make a fun roll here. We're going to roll a fitness security difficulty of 1. But if you fail, things might get fun. Nope, you actually go to your character sheet. Great learning moment. So you're going to go to your character sheet. It's good. I know you're not as familiar with Roll20. So if you open up your character sheet, you can actually click on fitness, and then it'll ask you which of the different focuses you want to do. And then you're always going to roll 2d20 for a base check. You'll click fitness. It'll ask you what value. You'll click security.
Security. Got it.
And difficulty of 1 on this. And you're just going to roll 2d20. And what focuses do you have?
Xenoseismology, Starfleet history, theoretical and experimental physics, warp drive, xenoarchaeology, and experimental technology.
I really want to give you the physics one, but it doesn't. I really want to.
Theoretical physics
of not dropping the coffee. But I'm not. But we're not. We're gonna say no focuses. But go ahead. Hey, great news! You don't spill the coffee. That's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. But the captain, this redheaded woman in front of you, she appears to be human. She drops her tablet. She drops the tricorder. As the tablet clatters to the floor, you see that it has several what looks to be interior words are hard. It has the specs and the floor plans of the Boudica on them. And you see that it is actually the deck that is up is the deck that you are currently on. She's very quick to reach back down, pick up her tricorder, and gives you a kind of passing sort of glance and says, "Commander, you'll do your best to watch where you're walking."
Oh, I do apologize, Captain. I didn't see you there. I'm just coming from medical. They had to sedate me, so my reflexes are not what they might be. But I see you're trying to find your way around. Please let me show you to wherever it is you're heading. Where are you heading?
I'm not lost. I know exactly where I'm going. Carry on, Commander. And unless you try to stop her, she is going to march right past you, Commander Jasoniman.
I don't necessarily have a reason. Can I let her go just around the corner and quietly ask the computer something?
Absolutely, you can let her quietly go around the corner and ask the computer something.
Computer, who currently aboard the Boudica holds rank captain or above?
The rank of captain is held by Captain Hagen.
That's okay. So I'd like to tail her if I can. I'm a little guy. I'll just keep holding my coffee and my tricorder, but I think I'm just gonna keep distance behind her and keep an eye on her and see if I can get some information.
As you round the corner, she's not there. You don't know where she went. Between the 30 seconds it took you to ask the computer, wait for her to round, ask the computer a question, she's gone.
In that case, I'm going to contact security.
Bingo bango. Perfect. Awesome. I'd like to pivot over to the captain's ready room at this point. I think we need to have that meeting between a certain intelligence officer and a certain captain. And I'm curious, Captain, would you have Commander Mitchell meet with you as well? Or would it just be you and the commander, or Commander V? Would you have asked for the first officer to be as well, or would you just be meeting with the captain?
She would not have asked, so it's kind of the captain's discretion.
Beautiful.
I think that as she was heading up to her office, which I presume is just up the bridge as a
Yes,
tradition,
absolutely.
she would have called Mitchell into her office as well.
Beautiful. All right. I love it. All right, so Commander Mitchell is there as well. So we open into a little, well, actually, Captain, describe your office. What is it? How is it decorated? You know, the captain's office is usually a kind of a way to maybe express themselves in certain ways. Maybe pieces of art, some fish, whatever you'd like to have. Small models. What's in your office, as it were, your ready room?
It's actually relatively Spartan. And the only thing that identifies it as actually being inhabited by a real captain, as opposed to being sort of a generic office just out of space dock before a captain has entered into it, are a small collection of awards with Beta Z writing on them for various different musical competitions. And there is also a violin sitting next to them in sort of not exactly a display case, but in a place of some prominence,
like a little stand where it's there, but it's not like ostentatious by any means. It's very classic. I like that. Perfect. So you sit down. I imagine that the Commander V is already there. She's punctual if nothing else. I get the impression. And you all sit down, and Commander V, take it away, or anyone for that matter.
So Captain, Commander, I'm just letting you know that I'm gonna be conducting interviews on the ship. I will be, so to say, snooping around and looking into everyone.
And she sort of chuckles a little bit. Well, I appreciate the forthrightness, Commander Valia, but may I ask why?
Oh, we have a spy on the ship. Someone's trying to start the war.
I might have led with that, but what evidence do you have to that effect?
I have received notice from headquarters that we have an infiltrator on the ship. I've already brought up a list of people that I will be heading to first. If you have anyone that you think I should head to before them. Anything suspicious going on your ends of things?
With the question of anything suspicious going on, I would imagine that Commander Mitchell oftentimes heads up security. Being the first officer, I believe that is something that she'd take a strong interest in. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but your badge will chirp, and Commander Josanaman, I got it right. I'm learning. He can be taught. What do you say to the first officer?
Commander, I'd like to report a possible saboteur or some kind of something. Someone was pretending to be something they're not. Someone with someone with red hair and captain's pips was walking around on, what deck am I on?
You'd be on deck, let's say deck 3.
Was walking around deck 3 with a schematic of the deck we were on, bumped into each other. They quickly tried to put me in my place as a inferior officer, and according to the ship's computer, there are no captains other than our captain on board. I trailed them for about 30 seconds, and they disappeared around a corner. Not were transported. I couldn't find them.
Understood. This is C4A scrambling to come up with something now.
Commander-
Take your time, no rush.
So Commander Velia, oh, I've gone blurry. Oh well, that's fine. She's immediately clocking this location, getting the computer to try and locate where this person is.
So you are asking the computer to help locate what? What do you input?
Oh,
into the
so the description that Jasoniman gave, wearing Captain Pips, red hair, on that deck.
The computer.
And-
Go ahead, please, Captain.
I was just going to say, as Suri sees her inputting that information, she'll lean over and say, try to isolate the members of the crew that we can't account for. If this person is an infiltrator, then you can disregard anyone that's actually supposed to be on that deck.
Ah, see, now we're thinking with angles.
Velia will do that.
I like that. So there's that kind of that millisecond sort of pause, because obviously working with super sci-fi future computers. And the computer comes back. There is one unaccounted for individual in Jeffrey's tube, A section 3. I don't remember if that's the exact same tube that Commander Rin said he was in, but the intent was it's the exact same tube that Commander Rin just left.
Yep.
It's close enough.
The captain immediately taps her comm badge and orders the security team to that location.
I love it.
And at that, unless either of the two of you wanted to say something, she's then going to contact Rin. So your comm badge would go off there.
This is also the same hallway where the ambassador was, correct?
Same deck.
Okay, I would also call for a security member to wait outside the holodeck for the ambassador.
Rin will tap on the badge, getting that communication. Rin here, go ahead, Captain.
Commander, we believe we have a stowaway on board. They've been sighted on deck 3. And she'll feed the actual location to him and ask, is there anything that a potential saboteur or enemy agent might be interested there?
I was doing some maintenance in one of the Jeffries tubes. I found some electrical device that I know for a fact is not a part of this ship's schematics. The issues we've been having with excess power draws, with systems going offline for short periods of time, I believe this is the cause.
Have you ascertained its purpose?
Not yet. I'm working on that.
Report to me as soon as you have anything.
While they are discussing, I will be pulling up incident reports, seeing if it's in specific locations on the ship to see if there's a pattern.
So I love that. I'm going to have you roll a reason and security, difficulty of 2, to see if you can pick up on what the pattern is. This is some big brain energy.
And I do think we forgot about the roll that we were going to make for internal sensors.
Yeah,
we got that.
That one I gave to you. Yep.
Okay.
Didn't even need to make it.
Could I use a focus of either Starfleet protocols or investigative techniques?
I would say investigative techniques, 100%. That is spot on. C4A, spot on.
Ah.
Ooh. You're currently failing. So you look at all of the different reports. They are on decks. There's deck 1, there's deck 3, there's deck 10. There's all of these different places, but with just a cursory glance, you're not seeing any patterns.
What was the difficulty?
Difficulty of 2.
Can I assist?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you assist with a focus, right? That's how that works.
So you would assist with the same roll. So it would be insight and security. You would only roll 1 die, though.
Right.
What focuses do you have, Commander V?
I was thinking espionage, considering if we have an infiltrator.
I would say yes, indeedly.
Okay, sorry, what was it again? Insight?
Insight security. And you're just rolling 1d20.
1d20 with a focus.
Hey! So
Thank
although
you.
Commander Mitchell is struggling, Commander V, you look at the same information, and putting your 2 brilliant minds together, you actually start to see a very subtly hidden pattern. It is these power drains, these different fluctuations, these draws. They look random upon first glance, but as you start to sift through them, you realize that they are not random. They are designed to look random. But all of them, if they were to activate at the exact same time, would send a power surge to the holodeck, which would blow out the holo emitters and likely fry whoever was inside of the holodeck.
Velia immediately is like, we need to go red alert and get anyone out of that holodeck. She will say that, suggest that.
Potentially evacuate that hallway.
And I think the captain would do exactly that. Calm down to the security officer that Andromeda had sent down to the holodeck and the ambassador and ask them to depart as quickly as possible. And then turn to the commander, handle the evacuation of that deck. However, damn it, that could tip our hand. This person might not know that we're onto them.
Did we locate where this person was yet?
The same Jeffrey's tube that Commander Rin had just left.
They're in there. Okay.
Hmm?
Yeah, so actually she's not going to evacuate the entire deck, but she's not going to go to red alert, but she will follow through that, calm down to the holodeck to ask the ambassador to leave.
So I want to get this straight so that I have all of the pieces, because things are starting to get a little excitable here right now. So Captain Hagen, you are contacting the ambassador. Is that my understanding? Is what you're doing?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Commander Rin, what are you doing with this information you've just garnered?
So at this point, Rin is, as I said, on his way back into main engineering. He is going to get Lieutenant Cotter to go back in and get the device while he shuts power off through that conduit. And even if he gets a contact from the ambassador, he's going to refuse to turn power back on.
Brilliant. So you're heading back to engineering. Commander Mitchell, what are you up to?
That's a great question. Assume she's doing something important.
She's likely heading up the security team, I would say.
Sure.
Probably heading
Perfect.
down to, I like that. She's heading down to maybe escort the ambassador out of the holodeck.
Okay.
Commander V, what are you up to?
She is going to go down with Commander Mitchell to meet the ambassador.
Beautiful. And Commander Jasoniman, you're the one that discovered this fake, this international lady of lies.
Was I
what are you
part
doing?
of that chain of communicators? That
You
I
would have
all
heard
this going on?
everything, yes.
Okay. How far am I from the holodeck?
You know what? You're the closest, actually.
All right. I'm gonna, against my better judgment, I will not drink my magic coffee to get there faster. I'm just going to sprint.
Brilliant.
I'm just going to
Still
sprint.
holding your magic coffee and doing
Yeah.
your best not to spill it. I love
God,
that. So
I should drink it. I'll get there faster.
here's how we're going to play this out. Jasoniman, you are the closest. So we're actually going to play your scene out first. And we're going to be jumping around between a series of different hallways, different scenes. So I'm going to keep the map static just for simplicity's sake, but I'm going to go ahead and just bring all of your tokens onto the map so everyone can see themselves, and then we're just going to kind of theater of the mind these next couple of scenes as they play out. Does that make sense? Everybody on same board?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay. So Commander Sanama, you are running down the hallway. There's a couple of different, officers, crewmen, etc. You're running past them, dipping and diving. So it's like, hey, watch out. Hey, what are you doing? Where are you in a hurry to? Hey, watch it. Hey, oh man, that burns. What is in that cup? Sort of thing. As people are running down the hallway.
Ow, my skin.
But you finally make your way all the way to the door to the holodeck. The same scene we've seen earlier with the captain and the commander. And what do you do once you get there?
I end program from outside. Whatever the program is inside, I'm just going to end it.
Unable to comply.
Security override, Officer Jasanaman, Ivora Alpha Tango.
Entry not recognized.
I'm not an engineer, but I'll try and do it the hard way.
Yay. I love that. So we're actually going to leave that right there. And we're going to pivot over to the captain. Captain, you are attempting to contact the ambassador. Is that correct?
Yes.
Cool. Your comm badge chirps. What do you say?
Ambassador, there's been a fluctuation in the holodeck's power grid. You need to leave the holodeck immediately.
The ambassador responds, but very slowly. What kind of power fluctuation, Captain?
A dangerous one, Ambassador. Get out of the holodeck now.
Acknowledged, Captain. Making my way to the exit now.
Keep me apprised of your situation. And then she's actually going to tap her comm badge off, retrieve a phaser, and head down towards that Jeffries tube where she has sent the security team to investigate the anomalous life sign.
I love that. I love that. Commander Rin, we're going to cut over to your scene. You've gotten back to main engineering. Commander Cotter is there, and you've been working with Commander Cotter for the last 6 months. You've come to know his expressions, and the expression on his face right now is, oh shit, oh damn, this isn't good.
I'd say Rin's arm is still numb, so it's still hanging at his side.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, he's not looking towards Cotter. He is shutting down power through that juncture.
Of course you are. At least you're going to try. You get to the console. You start typing in the codes to shut off power. Unable to comply.
Gonna try and run a quick diagnostic, figure out why.
As you start to run this diagnostic, you hear Commander Cotter, what do you mean power's fluctuating all to Deck 3? Just reroute it somewhere else. If it keeps going there, it's going to cause blowouts in every single system and every single room in that deck. We've got to reroute the power somewhere. I don't know. Put it towards the engines. Put it towards anywhere. Commander Rin, if we don't fix this right now, Deck 3 is going to be an inferno.
I think Rin's gonna look back without even giving thought, take his comm badge, hand it over. Black box in that conduit, put this on it.
And the Lieutenant Commander Lieutenant Commander Cotter, without even a moment's hesitation, grabs your comm badge and bolts out of main engineering. I think we're going to leave that right there. We're also going to pivot over to, let's see here, Commander V and Commander Mitchell. You are both heading down to meet with the ambassador. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
Brilliant. And on your tail, hot on your tail, is also the captain. She'll be arriving a few moments later. But Commander Jasanaman, you would see both the first officer and the intelligence officer arriving around the corner. I'd like to give you a chance to make that control engineering check here to attempt to force open the door to the holodeck.
What was the difficulty on that?
4.
Determination, momentum, and threat would probably be needed to make that, but
I don't have anything to attach to this, unfortunately.
You start
Did you spend your determination?
Did you spend the determination?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so we're gonna backtrack this for a second. So if you spend your determination, you automatically get 2 successes, but that counts as your first die rolled. So if you do this, you'll only roll 1 die, and you'll want to try and get a crit. Go ahead, Captain Hagen.
That it's actually still 2.
Oh, it is still 2.
It is still 2.
Right,
yeah.
it's an additional die. You're totally right.
Yeah.
Forgive me. Yes, so if you spend your determination, you actually would have succeeded on this. I'm totally cool if we want to retcon, because I believe that was the plan anyway. I remember specifically Fizbo being like, I spend my determination and then I roll my 2 die. I heard it. I'm pretty sure everyone else heard it, right?
Okay.
Is that what everyone else heard?
Do I need to do anything else mechanically, or is
you just have to tell me what value you're calling upon?
Value of studious.
You may not be an engineer, but you definitely paid attention when you were in engineering classes. So you're like, oh yeah, if I just reroute this wire here, this one here, and whabamo. And it's just like when you're making new coffee, as it were, which is fantastic. So as the Commander Mitchell arrives, along with Commander V, Captain hot on their tails, the door to the holodeck slides open. But what is perhaps slightly disconcerting is that rather than the beautiful, and I'm going to spend a little bit of threat here, I've got some saved up that I've been holding on this whole session. Instead of seeing this beautiful forest with these massive, almost otherworldly trees, you see a bleak and desolate desert of blowing yellow and golden sand. And you do not see an ambassador.
Andromeda will step up to the door and call out for the ambassador.
No response.
Computer, locate the ambassador.
The ambassador is on holodeck 1. Captain, you arrive on the scene and your comm badge chirps. It is the ambassador. Captain, something is wrong with the holodeck program. I am unable to find a gate. Or an arch, excuse me, an arch.
Give me a moment, I'll contact the transporter room to beam you out of the holodeck.
Very good, Captain. And
stand by.
Please hurry. And you actually can hear it through his comm badge. The weather here is getting uncomfortable. It sounds like a storm is brewing.
Find what shelter you can and stand by.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Vela? Am I saying it right?
Velia.
Jasanaman. I got Jasanaman. I just got to get Velia right, and we'll be good. So, Commander Velia, are you doing anything in this moment?
I have a question.
I have an answer.
So we have the ability to transport ourselves to different locations inside the ship, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Velia is trying to locate the ambassador inside the holodeck, and then if able to, she's going to transport herself to him.
Ooh, hope you got a backup character. Just kidding. All right. And with that being said, go ahead and roll we're going to roll a control science, difficulty of 2 on this one. And let me know what focuses you have.
Maybe I don't know, tactical security or
Yes.
Yeah, okay. 2d20 focus. Yes. Oh no.
Oh.
I'm gonna use my determination.
Oh.
Can I do that?
To re-roll?
Well, I get 2 automatic success. I don't know how determination.
Well, you didn't say
How does that work?
beforehand. You got to say it
I see.
beforehand.
Okay.
You can use it to re-roll though if you want.
Okay. Then yeah, I'll use it to re-roll.
All
So
right.
I re-roll both,
You can
or do I
re-roll
re-roll
both.
one?
Yep, re-roll
Both. Okay. So what was it? Control.
Science, difficulty of 2.
Science.
With a focus.
And the commander is right there. Is there anything that she can do to assist? Or...
Well, if she's trying to get herself to beam into another place, I can't.
Well,
help
first is
that.
to locate him in
Okay.
there.
Well, I guess I would.
You could do a control security as well if you want to assist in trying to track him down.
I'd go to the holodeck panel to, work the programming. So sure, I can assist you on that.
Beautiful.
Well, it doesn't look like you need it anymore.
Do it.
Nope.
Do it. You can get momentum.
Do it anyway. We'll get momentum.
Control
complications,
science.
1 die.
Control.
I'm surprised we haven't got a complication yet.
Shut up.
I love you,
They're fun.
Alex. They are fun.
Let's see. Focus of.
The ship explodes. Good pilot, everybody.
Nope.
Just
Alright,
kidding.
okay.
That was a cue.
That's okay. Oh, Lord have mercy. No. That's for season 2. All right. So, with that being said, you locate the ambassador. He is in the holodeck program, but the holodeck program has been quadrupled in size, and there are 4 distinct regions. There is a forest, there is an ocean, there is a desert, and there is a plains. And imagine, if you will, that it's kind of like these rectangular zones inside the holodeck. The holodeck has been tilted so that it's kind of almost like a diamond. And you are on the corner of the desert. And the ambassador is located on the corner all the way across the way of the forest. So if he was to run towards the arch, he would be running for literal like maybe 20 miles to get to your location.
Give him some of that coffee.
Commander, Mitchell knows what's up.
And
That was
with
not in
roll-
character, but she doesn't know about that. Well, she might.
And with that roll, I could transport myself to him.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You wanna go in there?
She's going to call to the transporters and be like, lock on my signal, and transport me to this place.
Transporter room 2, acknowledged.
And
And as everyone watches, she turns to a kind of bluish, that sort of noise. And Commander V, you appear in the middle of a beautiful, vast forest that is currently experiencing a terrible thunderstorm. And you land, with a soft kind of thoop. Your feet touch the ground as you appear, and you are instantaneously soaked from head to toe with this torrential downpour. You can see no more than maybe 6 feet in any direction. What do you do?
I don't see him. I didn't transport directly to
You
him.
do not see him currently.
She will call out to him.
You hear a very faint but close voice. Over here! I'm over here! Underneath this root! Follow the sound of my voice!
And she will look for him.
And as you slowly make your way through the torrential downpour, you eventually do, about 30 seconds later, you see the ambassador, who's also similarly drenched, is hiding underneath a large overgrown root that's kind of reaching up and almost kind of looks like a maw, like a mouth in the side. There's a little bit of dirt, like a little cave underneath this tree, and he's waving you over as he can. But I'd like to leave that there, as we are going to pivot back over to engineering, and you're going to get a call, Commander Rin, as you've been trying to... What have you been working on, Commander Rin? Please.
I think at this point, Rin's trying to even out all these power fluctuations, send them off to the less important systems at the moment.
Mhm.
I'd like to think, more replicators are sizzling out all over the ship at this point.
Mhm.
There are a couple EPS conduits that are just frying themselves, trying to keep this under control.
So it's like trying to catch water through a sieve, as it were.
Yes.
That's exactly what's happening. So as soon as you fix 2, 3 more pop up. You fix those 3, 6 more pop up. It's like this cascade failure is happening. And as you are doing your best, you're like keeping up with it, but it's like just ever so slightly starting to get the better of you. Your comm badge chirps, and it is Lieutenant Commander Cotter. And he says, Commander Rin, the doorway to the Jeffries tube, it's sealed. I can't get in. It sounds like someone's on the other side. I don't know what to do.
There's an emergency access port to the right-hand side of the sealed bulkhead doorway.
Mhm.
Do you see it?
I do. Accessing now.
Do you have anything to defend yourself with?
And as you mention, do you have anything to defend yourself with? You hear what sounds like an emergency access panel being opened, and I'm going to spend 2 additional threat. You hear what sounds like a phaser, and Lieutenant Commander Cotter does not respond. And the comms cut out.
I think with these power fluctuations starting to get out of hand, out of control, getting away from Rin, he's going to take a drastic step. He's going to cut power to the warp core entirely.
Ooh! While you're at warp?
Are we at warp?
Love this! I love it. Oh, the drama. Beautiful. So good. Not even going to ask for permission. Let's get after it. I love it. So imagine, if you will, we're going to kind of like this slow motion kind of scenes where we're flashing from the captain, Commander Mitchell, Jasoniman. You're still standing looking out at this vastness. Maybe worried expressions on your face, stoic expressions that Commander Mitchell always wears. A slight twitch in the left eyebrow of Commander Jasoniman as a bit of that coffee is still in his system. And we watch as we then zoom over to Commander Velia. She is standing next to the ambassador, and the rain is pouring down. You're drenched. There's flashes of lightning, cracks of thunder. And he looks to you, Commander V, and he says, "Destined to consume itself. It's always been destined to consume itself." And then we're going to cut over to Commander Rin, where you're going to make a very difficult check. You're trying to shut down the warp core while you're at warp. Basically an emergency shutdown, is that correct?
Yes.
This is going to be normally a difficulty of 3. I've got a couple of threat left. I'm going to spend them all, because I'm a game master and I'm a jerk. It's going to be a difficulty of 5.
Okay.
How would you like to handle this?
Well, I'm going to first tap my value. Nothing is impossible to fix.
Spending that determination for 2 successes. I love
Yes,
it.
I am. And then I am going to spend the 1 momentum we have.
Beautiful.
And give you 5 threats so I can roll full dice.
Give me the threat. I desire it. I demand it. I hunger for it. I'm going to spend all of that threat to increase your complication range to a 17 to 20.
Gentlemen, it was an honor flying with you.
Holodeck's going to suddenly be filled with dragons and still be on.
Let's get after it. And as we watch the Boudica, we see this exterior shot of the vessel at this point. It's traveling at near maximum warp. It's been traveling for a while, trying to get to this rendezvous with the good admiral and everything. And oh my god, that is a success! Oh my god! That's like, what is that, 6 successes? So you get it, and you get a momentum back. So okay, so imagine, if you will, you watch Boudica. It's traveling. Now I gotta see if there's any complications. We got an 18 and a 19. That is 2 complications. Yes! I mean, oh no, that's so terrible. But we watch the exterior shot of Boudica. We watch as the nacelles, those kind of like blue glowing nacelles that we see on the vessel, indicating it's at warp. There's a moment, a split second, and they cut out. And we watch as the ship lurches to the side, as though it was a car moving along the road and hit a patch of black ice. The ship begins to tumble. The inertial dampeners give out, and everyone is thrown to the floor. Tossed around, bumped elbows, cracked on the head. Inside the holodeck, you watch as the program kind of goes zzz, 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 and then cuts out, and you find yourselves thrown to the walls of the holodeck, those kind of crisscross, almost spiderweb looking room, as it were. As everything tumbles and spins, and everything comes to a halt. Commander V, you look over at the ambassador, and that was the first complication. Everyone getting tossed around. Everyone's going to take 3 points of stress damage from being tossed around. second complication, and perhaps the more unfortunate one, is that you look over to the ambassador and he's slumped against the wall of the holodeck in a very unnatural kind of position. His neck tilted in a way that doesn't seem quite right. And with that, that is where we are going to end Session 1 of Star Trek Mell. Good job, everybody. And thank you for playing. How's everybody feeling? How's everybody doing? Are you okay? You look mad.
I want to get him to medical, and he cut me off.
I had a very complicated idea of how to save him if we couldn't get the holodeck off.
You are. Go ahead, please.
I was thinking that since in the holodeck it doesn't create matter, it simulates it with force fields, but it does create food. If I could possibly from the outside surround him with cake, I could save him from any explosion. I could like cushion him enough that it would have done something.
That is absolutely a brilliant
It's
idea.
so chaotic. I love it.
What is happening?
Whether it would work, I don't know.
I just want to compliment everyone. I thought y'all did a fantastic job, and I am excited to see where this goes. I want to just preface this cliffhanger. It's a Darewolf classic, cliffhangers. It's just what I do. I like cliffhangers. But you will get a chance to pick up. We are going to pick up during Session 2, Episode 2, exactly where we left off here. Exactly where we left off. So I don't want you to feel like you've been cut off and you're not going to have a chance to save or do some good here. But I think this is a great instant just to kind of pause the action. And what you guys think? Did you have fun? Will you be back for Episode 2? That's my question.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
All right. Good.
Just get my name right next time.
Captain's not coming back, but that's okay. You gonna be back,
Captain
Matthew?
had an absolutely delightful time. I do worry that I talk too much, and I got a little bit overexcited at one moment, as you noted, Wolf. So I apologize for that, but that's just because I was having such a great time, and I really appreciate that, my friend.
A little bit of a side story. I tried to get Matthew into some Pathfinder. It didn't go well. So I wanted to make sure that it was just the system, not me. So if it was me, then we'd have a real problem. But no, fucking right.
I have other problems with you.
There it is. All right. I started the session by negging you. I had to end the session with you negging me, which is perfect. So everyone, I just want to say thank you. If you are catching this on the VOD, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like button, all that other good stuff, blah, 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 whatever the streamers say. I just want to say to Alex, Matthew, C4A, Adrillian, and Fizzbill, thank you guys so much. I'm extremely excited to see where we take this adventure, and I'm excited to see your characters grow. I'm excited to see you all become even more comfortable with your characters. I know that for some of us, first session, maybe those little jitters, but candidly speaking, and from the heart, you all did a fantastic job, and just as one of my good friends says, just lean into it. Just lean into it. But as I always say at the end of every session, thank you for the players for playing. Thank you to the viewers for viewing. And happy gaming, everybody. We will catch you next time for Episode 2 of Star Trek Mell, which will be airing in, I believe, 2 weeks. Correct? 3 weeks? 2 weeks? 3 weeks? 3 weeks. So we'll have the next 2 weeks off, and then we'll be back for Episode 2, Shadow of the Empire, Part 2. Good night, everybody, and happy gaming. Cheers.